are. All right, and good evening. Welcome, everyone. My name is Milt Sharp. I'm one of the board members for Black People Ride Bikes. I am a level 3 USA cycling certified coach, and I am here tonight to share with you a bit about Zwift and everything you need to know in order to be able to ride on it virtually. So for that, I have an agenda for tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Zwift is. I'll talk a little bit about what equipment you'll need in order to ride on Zwift. There are several different types of setups that you could utilize, so I'll talk a little bit about those. And then how do you get started on Zwift? After I go through some of that high level type stuff, I want to then walk you through Zwift. So I'm going to open up the actual app and show you different key features and functionalities within the actual app. And along the way, I'm going to give you a little bit of tips and tricks. So today's presentation is being recorded, so you can take notes, but this information will also be made available to you afterwards for you to go back and look at. I'd like for you to absorb as much of this information as possible. I do encourage questions, so if you do have questions, you can send those across in the chat feature. I will pause periodically to look at those, as well as to open the lines up for any questions for me as we go along. So with that being said, let's start off with what is Zwift. Zwift is an online cycling interactive platform that is also inclusive of running as well. I want to let people know that you can actually utilize Zwift to do virtual running as well as virtual cycling. And what it does is it allows for you to connect an indoor bicycle and a trainer, transmit the power data that you would in actually cycling the bike to data and performance in an avatar in a virtual space that is then able to compete against others, able to do workouts and trainings. And that correlates with the power that you're generating while you're actually on the bike and generating that wattage through an actual power meter that's transmitting that to a computer. So it's a very interactive platform that allows for you to be able to translate what you're performing on the bicycle to an actual avatar that's in a virtual world that it's riding through. One of the catchphrases for Zwift is that fun is fast. It has a wonderful way of gamification, and that's gamifying your participation in this. Through the process, you'll be able to be awarded badges. There are different jerseys that you can win through competitions, through sprints, or through KOMs, which is King of the Mountain, or QOM, which is Queen of the Mountain, and that's how fast you can climb. And if you climb the fastest, you get the polka dot jerseys and other things. So it really encourages you to be able to push harder in the game to win some of these things. And in doing that, it's helping you to build your fitness. You're able to ride with thousands of other riders from across the world. When I tell you, it's like actually being in the Olympics every day. When I log on and I'm riding with people and I look around, and I know that physically someone is on a bicycle or a smart trainer somewhere doing exactly what I'm doing in another part of the world. It's kind of really neat when you think about it in that respect, because everyone that you see in that world is somewhere on a bicycle or a smart trainer. And it creates, if you will, a unique way of connecting with people. I've been able to build relationships with people from all over the world just through participation in Zwift. It allows you to jump on and do a group ride or a race anytime, day or night, because it's everywhere in the world. Someone is riding a bicycle somewhere at some time. And as I go through and I break down Zwift in the different ways that you can get access to these rides, what you'll see is that there's pretty much a ride every hour, all the way around the clock, every day, 7 days a week, 365 and a quarter days of a year. It also provides you with the opportunity to be able to do structured workouts. Within the actual app, there are workouts that have been prepared for different disciplines. So if you're a gravel rider, there are workouts specific to you, gravel riding, or road cyclists, or even if you're an e-racer, it provides you an opportunity to use structured workouts to help build your performance in that space as well. And as we go through this, I will show you how you get access to those. But that, in a nutshell, is what Zwift is. So now I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it and what you need in order to be able to perform, if you will, in this virtual world. You'll need a bike, a smart bike specifically. You'll need a trainer or a set of rollers. For those of you who are old school, excuse me, let me go back. For those of you who are old school and remember the rollers and things that can be utilized, those can be utilized in this space as well. You also would need a Bluetooth measurement tool, and that's typically either a power meter or a smart trainer. And in some instances and cases, you'll be able to use the speed and cadence sensor from your existing bike setup in order to be able to transmit that data through to Zwift to then move your avatar as it performs in the game. You'll also will need an internet connection through either a computer, a smartphone, or a tablet that also has that Bluetooth connection there. So it would allow for your trainer or your bicycle that's on the trainer to be able to speak to the computer and transmit that data. In addition to that, there are going to be several setups that you'll need, and I'm going to go through and walk you through what each of those setups are. Here you'll see in the slide specifically, I start with the smart bike. The smart bike, and you'll see I've got $4 signs there. That's because it's a bit more expensive. It is the priciest option of options of setting up to be able to get on to Zwift. But what it does offer is a fully integrated indoor training and racing solution. It's pretty much plug and play. When you buy a smart bike, and if you need to kind of price it out, I think on the low end, they're about $1,800. They can get upwards of $4,000. I personally have a smart bike. That is because I also train regularly for racing outdoors as well as racing indoors. And it was much easier for me to make that investment in that and have it stationary than to continue to put my bike on and take my bike off, which is what I will talk about, which is next, which is the smart trainer with the wheel off. That one is, again, $3 signs there, which is a little bit more pricier. If you're thinking from a price range perspective, that's probably going to run you anywhere from, on the lower end, about $750 to the higher end, about $1,900. And there are a variety of different ones that are out there. Here pictured is the Wahoo Kicker, which is one that's probably more widely known. That is around $1,000, $1,100 price point there for the higher end one. But what makes it unique is that it also not only measures the power that you're putting out through your pedaling, it also simulates different grades and elevations as you're riding. So if you were riding along and you came upon a hill that would have maybe a 4 or 5% increase in elevation, the trainer would also simulate that resistance. So it would feel as if you were having to apply a bit more power and pressure. That is giving you the simulated feeling of riding outdoors and climbing. It is a wonderful tool to utilize, particularly for training, as you utilize a smart trainer, so that you can ensure that the different types of riding styles, you're getting them in and not just spinning your pedals, which is what you get with the next option, which is either a power meter or a smart trainer with the wheel on. And if you can see in this, you see the picture, they have their bicycle is as is, the wheel is still on, and it is rolling and making and touching a surface on the trainer that captures the power and transmits that to the computer or smartphone or tablet that you're utilizing Zwift on. It measures the power output, so it gives you a good accuracy in how much power you're generating. What it will not do is what the smart trainer with the wheel off does, which is simulate any kind of gradient changes or in resistance. So it will not change in resistance. It's going to be what it is. So you can pedal harder but any inclines that may come up, you will not recognize that through the wheel on. You would recognize it and could recognize it with the wheel off. The last option, which is $1 sign, is the cheapest. It's not $1 though, but it is one of the cheapest setups in order to get on to Zwift, which is a classic trainer, or some people will refer to it as a dumb trainer. I prefer classic. That seems a bit nicer. Dumb seems a little rude, but a classic trainer with rollers also being an option. And in those instances and cases, what you're able to do is utilize the speed and cadence sensor that you have on your bicycle that you're using with your current bike computer right now. For those of you who have Wahoo or Garmin, usually it'll be that which is attached to the wheel on the inner part of the wheel and spins around. That speed and cadence sensor is calibrated in a way to where the app will pick it up and it will calculate an estimated power. Now, estimated power is just that. It is estimated power. It is not accurate. It will not capture the proper power the same way if you were utilizing a wheel on or a wheel off power meter, but it gets you in the game. It will have what they say estimated and calculated power. So they've looked at different trainers, they've looked at different setups, and they've come to pretty close able to simulate it up to a certain extent. I think the max oftentimes is 400 watts, which makes it very difficult for you to then actually compete in any type of races or things like that. But for group rides, where there's not extensive sprinting or anything of that other sort, you should be able to ride along, or you can just ride at your own cadence and your own pace and do your own individual rides. But it is what they call Z power, which is an estimated power. It is not the actual power that you probably are putting out. In some instances and cases, probably more, because I've had individuals who've had the classic trainer set up with the speed and cadence sensor that then went on to a wheel on and noticed the drop in the power in their performance. And that's because the estimated power that they had just was a little bit off. You have to do a bit more calculating in terms of the wheel size and things of that sort for it to kind of give you a rough estimate. And oftentimes there are miscalculations there. But if you want to get on Zwift and you don't want to make an investment in that, and you're just looking to be able to ride and participate in some group rides and things, this is an inexpensive way in order for you to be able to get access to that. So I'm going to pause for one moment to see if there are any questions. If you have any questions, I'll answer them before I move forward. And that's going once, going twice. All right, I shall proceed. So how do you get started? The first thing you have to do is you have to sign up for an account. You can use a Mac, you can use a PC, you can get online to the Zwift website. And on the website, it'll give you the ability to be able to download the software so where you can set it up for this. I'm sorry, I just saw your question there in terms of the meeting ID. It's 202, I'll put it here in the chat, 4995136. And I believe that information would have been included in the sign up, but we shall proceed. Go online, utilize your computer to download the Zwift software. You can also get access to it on a smartphone or a tablet, and you can download the Zwift app from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. And through that, you can sign up for Zwift as well. Now, Zwift does offer, I think, a 7 or 14-day trial, depending on the time of the year when they're looking to push and promote it. I think it is a timeline or a mileage, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is about 50 kilometers, which for my rough calculation puts it at about 30 some odd miles that you can ride before the game would require for you to have a subscription. But the subscription is $14.99 a month. Once you do that and you download it and you sign yourself up, one of the next things that you want to do is you also want to download the Zwift Companion app. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Companion app here shortly, because the Companion app is a really important part of being able to get access to the calendar that's within Zwift without you having to log into the actual game in order to choose different group rides or trainings or things that you'd like to do. The Companion app is really important to be able to have access to that. So there are a couple things that I want you to know before you even get started in Zwift. Before you even get set up on the bike and start rolling, there are a couple essential items that you need to make sure that you have. One of the things that people don't recognize and realize is that when you ride indoors, you are going to sweat a lot. You're going to sweat a whole lot. You'll sweat more than you probably would outdoors. And there's a couple reasons why. One of which is that when you're indoors, you don't have the benefit of either the evaporative powers of the sun, which can take the sweat off of you, or the cooling of the wind as you're riding through it. So more times than not, that body heat that's generating in that sweat is not going to evaporate off. I don't have this listed here, but one of the tips that I would offer up is do like I did, get a separate hamper, as my wife was not happy with me putting wet cycling clothing on top of her clothing as well. But in that respect, knowing and understanding, there's a term that's used. It's called a pain cave. We call it a pain cave because actually, in order to really be to level up in cycling, it's going to hurt. There are some activities that you're going to do that you're going to have to push yourself. And that pain is one that you just have to kind of come to terms with if you're looking to be on a competitive level. If you're looking to just ride your bicycle and be good at it, you don't have to push yourself to that degree. But for cyclists that race like myself and others, there are certain training activities that we have to go through that hurt. And that's just the reality of it. So, the term pain cave has now been, given to that indoor training that many cyclists engage in. So thought I would share that term with you all, but there are a couple of essential items that you have to have for that. As I mentioned, you're going to sweat. You're going to sweat a whole lot. So you need to make sure you have adequate water. What I try to tell people, a good rule of thumb is have and drink at least 8 ounces every 30 minutes when you're on the bike. So if you're on the bike for an hour, that means that you need 16 ounces. That's typically the size of most size water bottles. So you'll need at least 1 water bottle. And I try to tell people 1 water bottle for every hour. So if you're riding for 2 hours, if you're riding for 3 hours, then you just do the math. 3 hours, 3 water bottles. 2 hours, 2 water bottles. 1 hour, 1 water bottle. All right. That's a good rule of thumb to hang on to. The next is you're going to need a towel because you're going to be sweating. I typically ride with cycling caps on, but sometimes I put bandanas on or other things to cover my head because my hair just doesn't catch my sweat, right? So, headbands and other things are good ideas to have, but towels for sure, because you're going to sweat quite a bit, particularly after you're done riding as well. In addition to that, you're going to need a fan. And I would say try to get a fan that has some high output, particularly when you start heating up and things get hot. I have a room that I work out in, and it gets so hot in there that I steam the windows up. So the windows are typically steamed up. And I have a fan going on there. It's high output. You can generate a lot of heat when you are on an indoor bicycle, depending on how hard you ride. But having a fan is a great way in order to keep your body from overheating, because overheating has a direct impact on your overall performance. Fatigue sets in a lot quicker when your body starts to heat up. So keeping yourself cool, which is why you sweat, is a way of the body keeping yourself cool so that it doesn't overheat. A fan will help you to keep from overheating and allow you to perform better as well. The next thing I have listed here is a desk or a stand. Really important because depending on what kind of setup you have, it may be where you'll have to set your laptop. It may be where you'll have to set your tablet. It may be where you'll need to set your drinks or other accessories that you'll need during the time when you're on the bike, like your water bottle and your towel and things of that sort. So it's a good idea to find a desk. There are plenty that are out there that you could get. I actually went and got one out of Walmart. It's just one that I'm able to elevate up. It's a standing desk, but I can pull it forward close enough on my bike where I can set my, snacks and my water bottle and my laptop and things on there in order to be able to have access to it. So it's a good idea to be able to have that because you want things that you need when you're riding on the bike. You want to be able to have access to them fairly quickly and fairly easily as well. Now, so these are some of the immediate essential things, but there are other items that I would recommend that you have when you're on the bike as well. And I'm, just going to quickly run through each of these, just have little pictures of them as opposed to text. The guy here on the far left, he is what I would call the example of having a dedicated space for you to be able to ride. It's important if you can to be able to carve out a space and a place for you to be able to get access to riding uninterrupted. And the reason why I say that oftentimes, depending on if you're looking to do training and things of that sort, then you probably don't want to be interrupted when you've just done an extensively hard sprint or out of breath, and you might not be able to receive anyone very well when you're in situations like that. But having that space that's dedicated also can help you get into that mode, that ride mode, if you will, and then setting it up and customizing it to where you can be comfortable is an important part of it as well. To the bottom left, I have Discord. When I go into the actual app and I show you the different group rides and things, what you're going to see is that many of the groups promote that they utilize Discord. And what it is it's an app that allows for you to be able to engage with other riders who are riding virtually the same way, either through direct chat, voice back and forward, or through text messaging that can be done, or through video, similar to kind of how we're utilizing Zoom right now. Discord is heavily used throughout Zwift. If you're not familiar with it, I would suggest you download the app. When you do get into Zwift and you join onto a group ride, join on to one of those chats and kind of see what it looks like. I can tell you, I utilize it, particularly with the group that I race with. And we use that, we're talking with one another while we're racing, particularly when we're doing things like team time trials and it's my turn to pull, someone will say, okay, Milt, it's your turn to pull for 30 seconds, pull at 300 watts, and so-and-so will be on your wheel. And we're able to just kind of communicate while we're in the game. It also takes some of the monotony out of it. But you could also be one of those people like the person down to the very far right who's on a bike with headphones on that likes to listen to music. I do at times decide that I don't want to join the Discord conversations and like to just ride to music. I think having music and riding to music, particularly when you're indoors, helps to take some of the monotony of it as well. Depending on if you put together a good playlist, it'll help take the time and slide away so much easier when you're on the bike. Because quite frankly, I would tell anyone riding indoors will never, ever be better than riding outdoors. Riding outdoors is the best. I think riding indoors should enhance riding outdoors. And so that's why I think things like Zwift and spending time in the wintertime riding indoors prepares you to be able to perform better when the weather breaks and you're able to get outside. It's one should be complementing the other. And riding indoors is designed in my mind to complement my riding outdoors as well. But in certain specific times when I have to spend extended periods of time on the bike, I think music is a great tool to be able to use and utilize. To the left of the person that's sitting on the bike, in the middle between the Discord, there's a little bike set up here with a little basket. If you can find a way, again, like I mentioned, like a table or something that allows you to kind of keep your items close at hand, this is a great way of being able to do that. He's got his water bottles all set up there. He's got right above that and to the left, I show snacks. It is definitely important if you're going to be on the bike, particularly if you're going to ride for at least an hour, that you fuel yourself. I tell people all the time when I'm coaching, cars run on gas, we run on food. And that bicycle runs and is powered by you. You are that machine. And so you have to make sure it has the proper fueling. It directly correlates between how much you drink and how much you eat on the bike. Definitely shows how well you'll perform when you're out. And if you've not eaten enough, your performance will falter. If you're not drinking enough, your performance will falter as well. So it's a good idea if you're going to be on the bike for over an hour that you have a snack. And if you're going to be on the bike for an hour, as soon as you're done, you should have a post snack as well. Now, to the right of the snacks, you see this bicycle. It has kind of this stretchy thing on it. What that is actually a way to design to catch sweat. This is one of those items that you're going to want to have if you're going to be riding for any extended periods of time indoors. You are going to sweat. Sweat is going to drip off of you and will drip down onto your bike. If you don't know this, sweat is extremely corrosive, and it will actually eat away the paint on your bike and corrode different componentries if it can get in there. So the best way to protect it is to have one of these sweat guards that can protect your bicycle and keep sweat from falling into it as well. To the right of that, what I have is just a quote. It says, "Make this day great." I think in your pain cave space or wherever you set up, it's always a good idea to post inspirational quotes or training goals or aspirations that you have that can motivate you within eyesight. So I think it's just a good idea and it's a good habit to do that. That's one of my training tips that I offer to all folks that I train. Keep your goals and things in sight and in mind. They'll go in and they'll stay with you and they'll help motivate you through some of the tough trainings that you're going to have. I mentioned earlier about this Zwift companion app. I can't express and drive home enough how important that is as a part of this overall relationship. You'll have the Zwift app and you'll have access to the rides. And as I walk you through the app, I'll show you that. But the companion is the way that you can personalize that to make sure that you're signed up for different rides and that you're getting access to different information that is available within Zwift. So immediately after you sign up for Zwift, do download the Zwift companion app. It'll help you for when you're riding in the game because it allows you to have the same direct controls that you would have when you're using it on your computer, but on your smartphone. Now, to the left of that, and the last picture that I have up here is equipment cleaner. As I mentioned earlier about the corrosiveness of sweat, it's important to make sure you clean and keep your equipment clean as well. So not a commercial for Muck Off. There are other folks that make stuff out here, but these folks are really good here. If you're going to be riding indoors regularly on your bicycle, the best thing to do is to make sure you take care of it. These are some equipment cleaners that you might want to invest in to keep your bike clean as well. So a couple more things here before I get into the app. But again, these were some of the essential items and things you should have in mind as you think about your space that you're going to be riding in, and what are some of the key things that you would want to have in that space. Now, to move us forward, I want to talk a little bit about the categories that are within Zwift. You know, after you sign up for Zwift, you're going to see these different numbers and letters here, A, B, C, D, FTP, and W/KG. A is a category. It is the top category within Zwift in terms of race performance. And it is for those riders who have an FTP of 4.0 watts per kilogram or above. Now, I'm going to take a moment to break down what that actually means. Functional threshold power, which is FTP, is the maximum 1 hour power output that you could put out. You know, this is you giving it all you have for 1 full hour. Now, your FTP can be determined a couple ways. One of the ways is the game will tell you what it is. Whenever you maintain a certain power level over 20 minutes, what it will do is it'll give you 95% of that power as your new FTP. Or you can do an FTP test. And I will show you within the game where you can do that. And that's where you'll go through a 20-minute session of increased resistance to find out what your functional threshold power is. Now, it's important to know what your FTP is for a couple of reasons. One of which is what we use to determine what category, what ride category you'll be placed in within Zwift. And the way that they're able to do that is they take that number, which is your functional threshold power, and they will divide that by your weight in kilograms. So I like to use rough, easy numbers for math. Let's just say your FTP is 210. 210 watts is what you can hold for 1 full hour. That is your FTP, your functional threshold power. And let's just say your weight is 70 kilograms. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the metric system, you're going to have to either find a way to convert this, or Zwift will convert it for you, since it will convert your actual weight into kilograms. But for this math problem, I'm going to say your FTP was 210 and you weigh 70 kilograms. So 210 divided by 70 would be 3.0. 3.0 would be the category that you would fall in. And if you look at the chart above, here we'll have A, B, and C. If your FTP is 3.0, then you would fall into category C within Zwift. And that is where you would be able to be matched up with people of similar ability and similar performance. Some of them are going to be able to kick out more watts than you, but they may be heavier than you. Some of them may kick out less watts than you, but they may be lighter than you. So it's nothing to be determined by age or anything. It's literally by the amount of power that you're able to produce divided by your weight in kilograms. That is how categories are determined within Zwift. And these are the 4 main categories within Zwift. A, which is 4.0 watts per kilogram and above. B, which is 3.2 to 3.9 watts per kilogram. C, 2.5 to 3.1. And D, 2.4 and below. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to pull up Zwift here and walk you through the actual platform so that you can see a bit about how it works. And before I do that, I'm going to also pause for a moment to ask if there are any questions. Questions going once. Going twice. All right, fantastic. So, no, I'm sorry, there was a question? No, okay. All right, sorry about that. I am, so I've logged into Zwift. I wanted to do that because there was a little bit of a lag with me being on Zoom and doing Zwift at the same time. So it was causing a delay. So I've gone ahead and I've logged in. But when you log in, actually, one of the first things you're going to come to is the connection screen. All right. This connection screen is where you will connect actually to Zwift, and the different setups that you have. This is where it will connect. Now, for power meters and for other power, you will click on search for the power source, and what it will do is it would do a Bluetooth search for the power meter that's out there. It will then pop up and it will connect. Now, I am not near my smart bike, so it's not going to recognize it right now. So I'm just showing you just as kind of how and where you'll be. If you can see up here to the top left, it's the Bluetooth. You can see the signal that is pushing out. That means it's looking for it. Right now, it's currently connected to my heart rate monitor. So you can see that's where that is heart rate. That is my actual heart rate that is connected to. And obviously this is going well. This is my heart rate is fairly low, so I'm not nervous in any event. If you had a smart sensor or a cadence device, you would click on search for cadence or a speed sensor. Now, if you have, again, the classic trainer setup, this is where you'll need to connect. It will need to identify. And once again, you hit search. We'll do a search for your device. You'll see it pop up. It'll look very similar to kind of how this looks. I'm going to see if we can do a search here for my heart rate monitor. See how my heart rate monitor popped up? It'll have it listed there. You'll click OK, and then that box will show that it's connected. It'll be green, and it'll be there, and it'll show that it has connected. If you have the wheel off, and that means you've taken your rear wheel off and have connected to a smart trainer, you'll also have this far right box down at the bottom, controllable. That is where, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have the wheel off trainer, you have the ability now to have the smart trainer controlled by Zwift. And in controlling the smart trainer, again, what it will do is it will adjust the resistance based on an incline or elevation to simulate you going uphill. And that's where the controllable connection would take place here. So I'm going to skip past that for right now and take you back to the main screen. But I showed you that because that's what will pop up first when you log on to Zwift. Now that you're logged in, this is what will pop up. Across this main strip here at the very top are different things that you would become acquainted with. The first here is you see a cyclist. This is a list of all of the activities in the events that are taking place in Zwift today. And this is where you would land first to determine what you were and how you were intending to engage with the game. It does list these things here across the top, which are called challenges. And those challenges are for specified periods of time. From November 30th through December 31st, there's a mission that's going on, and you can click on that. And what it would do is it would list the different activities that you would engage in during that month through Zwift in order to complete the particular mission. And usually at the end of the mission, they'll have, again, some award, some badge that you can get that you show that you've completed it. Below that, you see here are events, and most of those are group rides and races or workouts. As I click on each of these, you can see that there are one of the letters that I mentioned earlier, A, B, C, D, and I neglected to mention E. E is for everyone. That means anyone can ride. It's not category enforced. So right now, there's a group ride that's starting in 22 minutes, the Bandits Ride United. It is a D group ride. So if I were to click on that, you'll see it'll pop up over here to the right. One is letting me know that it's for 60 minutes long. There are 93 people that are signed up for that ride. and that the pace will be at 1.4 to 1.7 watts per kilogram. Now, as I mentioned earlier, around we talked about what your FTP is, it's important to know what that is, because you don't want to join a ride that may be too fast or too strong for you. It also gives a full description of the event. And you can click on that, it will go through and it'll explain what it is. As you can see here also, as I mentioned about Discord, you can see they also have a Discord channel. You would be able, during this ride, to click on that Discord link and engage the folks who are on that ride in chat, video conferencing, or through voice interaction as well. So, excuse me. May come back to this. I inadvertently downsized that. All right, here we go. So that's an event. Here is a race. In order to be able to join a race, as I mentioned earlier, you can see this is category enforced. I am a B in Zwift. That means I can only race in A or B races. As you can see here, I'm not able to join a C race or a D race or the E race either. Only races that I'm able to join would be B or A. And Zwift again does that to make sure that I'm not, jumping in races where I would just crush the group that I'm riding with. They want fairness as much as possible. Besides racing, and you may decide that racing is not your thing, and I would tell you, when I first started on Zwift, I did not start racing for at least the first 6 months after I started on Zwift. I was more interested in doing the group rides and learning more about it. Here is a particular group workout. This workout would allow everybody that's in the group to stay together. This is to make sure that no one gets left behind, and they do that as well. So those are the events for the day. There are also structured workouts that you're able to do within Zwift as well. And these you can do on your own. Here are several of the workouts that are listed. I would say that for any new beginner within Zwift, that I would stay away from looking at any of these particular workouts here, and I'll show you where to find a workout for a beginner, because they have specific workout plans that you could utilize, as opposed to just choosing one that you may not be familiar with or may not be right for what your particular cycling goals might be. Zwift also offers the ability for you to be able to ride with a pace partner. Now, the pace partner is just that. It is a robot, if you will, that is riding at a particular speed in a particular pace, and you're able to ride along with them as well. I think there are 8 different pace partners that are available. And as you can see here, they are listed by their watts per kilogram and how fast that they're traveling. Below that, it will also list to you the distance of the route that they're riding on and the elevation, if there's any, in terms of climbs. Now, I have most, if not all, of my settings in metric measurements. And I do that because within Zwift, what it does is, as you're riding along, you're accumulating points. Points accumulate faster through the metric system than they do through the imperial system. And so I'm just taking advantage of leveling up quicker by doing that. It's almost kind of like rewarding you for utilizing the metric system, if you will. You can choose a pace partner to ride along with. I do that most of the time in the morning. That way I know that I can ride at a specific pace, and that there'll be, people to ride with. I think Coco right now is riding at 2.6 watts per kilogram. She's got 72 folks that are riding along with her as well. So that's a nice little size Peloton, which you can get the benefit of, which is drafting, which is also a feature within this game, similar to how you would ride outdoors as well. Or you can just ride by yourself. Inside each of each day with inside Zwift, there are 3 worlds that are made available. One world, Watopia, is available every single day. And then there are rotating worlds. There are up to 9 worlds, including Watopia right now. Soon there'll be 10. They'll be adding on Scotland here in the next month in celebration or in recognition, if you will, of the UCI nationals that will be internationals that will be held on Zwift, which will be mirroring the actual events that will be taking place in real life. So the course that will be within Zwift will be duplicative of the course that they'll be racing on outdoors, as are many of the worlds, particularly New York and Richmond, that are in here that are identical to the riding that's done outdoor, elevation gain, route, etc. It also has the ability for you to be able to join a Zwifter. As I mentioned before, you're going to connect with a lot of folks. Over my time on being on Zwift, I've made a lot of friends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join one of my friends just so we can watch them as they're riding along, and I can point out some of the things that are on screen that you will see when you're riding on Zwift as well. And again, I apologize for some of the delay here. There's a little bit of a lag because of the bandwidth of me being on Zoom. But while that is loading up, I will again pause for any questions or comments or clarifications.
Mel, how do you just pick a pace partner? I mean, maybe you explained it and I just didn't get it.
They are available to you and listed so that you can choose them, and they list all of them that are listed there as well. So
They would be listed within various rides. Is that how it is?
So no, they're listed. They have the route that they're riding on, and then they will also have the pace that they're riding at. Okay. And I will go back and I will show you that again here in just one moment. I wanted to pull up here just so you can get a sense of what the screen looks like when you're in Zwift right now. So there are a couple things. Right now, I've chosen to look in on Mr. Velovit, and they're riding right now with Coco, with the pace partner. If you saw the blue light that was shining, that's how you know you're riding with the pace partner, because they'll be highlighted in either blue, yellow, or green. And blue, yellow, or green are indicative of their pace. Yellow is a recovery pace, blue is an endurance pace, and green is a tempo pace, with the last pace partner being red, which is at anaerobic pace or 4.0 or greater. So as you're looking here, you can see the whole Peloton. I'm going to click on the screen so you can see, as you see at the bottom here, you can change the view for how you're looking at when you're riding along. So I've changed it to where I'm a second person. I can also get lower to where I'm riding in the pack. I can also change it to where I get a side view. And again, depending on where you want to be at, you can look at it if you were coming from down low and from the back, or you can look at it for riders coming at you as well. For a lot of people, they just like to change the view just so that they can break up the monotony of looking at it. Personally, I use and change views for racing. Sometimes I want to see what it looks like behind me when I have the lead, to see if anyone is attacking. Sometimes I want to put the view in front of me so that I can focus in on hammering going forward. Sometimes I'll put it on the side for time trials to see how much of a gap I'm putting between myself and others. So it's not just a cool way of being able to look at the game. There are strategic advantages of utilizing this if you're into racing on the platform as well. Though I would have to say this view doesn't have a lot to do with other than just it's pretty cool, give you a different shot. And then the helicopter shot here, I don't think does much either as well, but it's pretty cool looking as well. Now, a couple other things on screen that I want to point out. Up to the upper right, you will see a little topography map. That map is a map of the route that you're actually on. That number that's highlighting to the corner is determining the elevation. So right now at a -1, that means we're going down slightly. That number can go up, and that as it goes up and becomes positive, then that's a positive elevation. 0 is flat. When you click on the map, you can look at it a couple different ways. It'll give you a couple different views. So you can click on it, you can zoom in to get a little bit more closely. The orange dot is me. The blue dot is the pace partner. And again, depending on which pace partner you're riding, what will determine the color that it is as well. At the very bottom, you can see it very lightly, but it looks like you can see where there's little hills and you can see the group. That is just kind of showing as we are going along the path as well. And again, there's a couple different views that you can choose by clicking on it as well. To the right, you will also see below that are Zwifters that are nearby. What it does is it allows you to see the Zwifters that are in close proximity to you. It will not show everybody that's on the course, just those that are in close proximity to you as well. When you see the thumbs, you give the thumbs up. That's just a way of recognizing people when you're on. It's a cool thing to do, and there's certain badges that you can win by doing that and getting thumbs up as well. To the left here, you'll see where it says Fuego Flats. These are different sprints and climbs throughout the different routes, and it recognizes your position as in, so Beck Jones, who's a friend that I race with, just was 36 out of 1,677 folks. All right. There are other racers that are on here and other routes that are on here. There's the Hilly Loop. And you can click on the little buttons down to the bottom. This is the Zwift KOM. And again, those people who are in the first position are awarded a jersey that they would then wear in the game for at least an hour or until someone breaks their record in under an hour. So you get to keep it for an hour, or someone will have to beat your time within that hour to take it from you. But after an hour, if no one's beaten your time, you would also lose the jersey as well. It's not a jersey you get to keep permanently. You just get to wear it when you're in here. But there are different, again, routes and different challenges within here as well. Now, above that, you can see this is where the watts are. And you can see that number goes up. It's always moving because it's being generated by pedaling. And as you imagine, a lot of times, sometimes you might be putting a little bit more pressure down with one foot than the other. It's not always as smooth a cadence as we would like to think. It is capturing also your RPM, which is your cadence or revolutions per minute. So right now, Beck is smoothly rolling at about 73 RPMs, 140 to 50 some odd watts, and that the BPM are beats per minute. So 101 beats per minute. So, but for all intents and purposes, knowing her and knowing right now her vital statistics, that she's just out on a nice little what we would call a zone 2 endurance ride. And this is what you would do to build what we call your base, which is what we do in the wintertime. You want to build a strong base so that when the spring comes, that from a strong base, as you think about it, of a pyramid, the bigger the base, the higher the peak. And so that's why in the wintertime, I think it's a great idea to ride Zwift. It breaks up previously what used to be the monotony of riding on indoor trainers. It allows you to maintain a level of fitness in the off season that has you better prepared when it's time to ride outdoors again. And you can go out and you can enjoy yourself. You can ride longer, you can ride stronger, and that makes for quite an enjoyable riding experience. So I am going to now go back to me. I joined them, but switched to look in. I'm not connected, so I can't travel. But this is me right here. I race for BMTR. I'm gonna go back and just show a couple things here. So first thing here, let me just do this. I switch positions. All right. So right now you can see I'm sitting on a bike that I think most of us remember Tron. They refer to this as the Tron bike. When you're in Zwift, you're gonna probably see this bike and you're gonna be like, "Ooh, that is a cool bike. How do I get that? Where do I get that?" Well, this is one of the only bikes that you cannot buy within Zwift. You have to earn this bike. And in earning, well, I'm sorry, it's not the only bike, but it is the bike that you want, that you have to earn in order to get. And the only way that you can actually get this bike is through a challenge within actual Zwift. And it's one of those things where no one told me about this. I had no idea about it and wish someone had told me sooner, because I would have gotten awarded the bike a lot sooner. One of the things that you click on is when you're in the screen, you're going to click on what are called challenges. Within the challenges, you'll see several of them that are listed. The first challenge you want to absolutely sign up for is to climb Mount Everest. And it says in order to be able to complete this challenge, you have to climb 50,000 meters. If you want to get a sense of what that means, it would be like climbing Mount Everest 5.5 times. All right, it's about 164,000 feet of climbing. So it's not something you're going to do in a day. It's going to take you several months, if not maybe a year for some folks to eventually achieve this. But it's one of those challenges you want to start on immediately, because you want that Zwift bike, you want that concept bike, you want that Tron bike, because it performs really well in the game. Because actually there are different bikes that you can get access to as well. I'm going to show you that here in a moment. But first things first, click on the Climb Everest. It's then going to capture all of your climbing, and when you're done, you get to the end and you will win the Tron bike, and it will be yours. There are other challenges in here, but again, in the screen before you sign out, you will see where the challenges are. That's where you want to click on. Over here are those workouts that I talked about earlier. And as a beginner, I think it's better to come here and select a workout from here and sign up for it, because it's better designed to have those trainings in there specifically around what it is that you're looking for. So let's just say if you want to do an FTP booster, it's going to break it down for you in 4 weeks. For the first week, these are your workouts for that first week. So as you can see, in week 1, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're gonna have seven days. You're gonna work out 7 days. Each of these days will build on one of the other days, but this will now get you on track. Week 2 is gonna have same thing, workouts, 7 days. Week 3, would have the same thing, your workouts. And then the fourth week would be the final week. As you can see, it would be a little bit more rest, and then you would end with an FTP test. And if you've progressed, you will see that progression within that 4-week time frame. The FTP booster is one of the ones that I recommend for those who are getting started. The other would be the Back to Fitness. The Back to Fitness is a 12-week long program. The Back to Fitness is a great winter program. I like to tell folks, particularly, it takes about 3 cycles, 3-4-week cycles in order to get yourself into really good shape and to make the physical adaptations in your body that you would need to make in order to be effective in cycling. The Back to Fitness workout is a great one for you to be able to take advantage of. So I am now going to go back here and pull up a couple other things. I'm ending this ride. When you end the ride, it will upload to either your Strava or Garmin or any of these others. That is something you will set up when you're setting it up, so it can save it. Since I didn't do anything, I'm just going to trash this here. Once I'm done with that, it takes me back to, again, the initial login page. And to your question earlier, Marvina, I'm going to show you so it says, find a pace partner group here. If you can see, it's listing each of the pace partners here below. So here's Coco. If I wanted to ride with Coco, I would click on Coco, and then it would pull up what her route is. It will pull out how long it is and what the elevation is. I can see that she's riding at 2.6 watts per kilogram, and she's riding with 69 folks. I would just then go on, click start ride, and that would plop me right in with her. And I would have up to a minute to get up to speed with the group before it would then turn off. And then my pedaling would have to match the speed of the group as well. And that's how you get connected with a pace partner.
Okay, so would you have to start the ride the same time she starts the ride?
Nope, she's always riding.
Oh,
Always.
she's always that. Okay, she's always riding.
She's always riding.
Okay.
Non-stop. So Coco is riding non-stop.
So she's like a bot or something?
She is absolutely a bot. So
Okay.
Coco, Miguel, Bernie, Maria, they're all bots. Yumi is a bot. And again, they're all riding at different speeds on different routes. But I would say that if you know what your FTP is and what you know what your threshold is, pick one of the bots that you can ride with that will keep you at a pace that would allow you to keep up with them. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. When you were talking about the various workouts that you could do, I'm a relatively new rider. I started riding about a year ago. Okay. So if I'm starting to ride, I've ridden in Zwift, but what do you recommend for a new rider to just build up that type of endurance, and where do you start?
So
I mean, you may have answered this, and you've shown us a lot, and I understand what you've shown us, but
so I've gone here at the very top. When I first walked through these, the first one was this icon here with the person on the bike. The next one is a calendar, and that shows just what the events are, the upcoming events, okay? Okay. The one after that is the world, and that's what lets us know what worlds are available for you to be able to ride in. Watopia, like I mentioned, is always available. Richmond and London are available today. If I click on the world schedule, it will then show me color-coded which days which worlds would be made available. And then, I'll know in advance, particularly if I'm badge hunting. And what I call badge hunting is that each of these routes, when you complete them, will give you and award you with the badge. But to your question, the workout that I would go to for a new rider or for someone who's been riding for a year but wants something a bit more structured is the Build Me Up. Okay. This will help you improve overall. Now, it is going to be a little tough in the beginning, but it's doable and it's manageable, and it will take you through. Now, the workouts will get you there, and it's extended over I think it's a 9-week period. No, it should be a full 12, right? Full 12 weeks, and 12 weeks, just try to get in your mind, 12 weeks is a good base building experience so that you'll be able to perform well on the bike. Always think that, I need at least 3 months to get in shape. Try to just immediately think in your mind that if you have a century ride that you want to ride, you want to start getting ready for that 3 months in advance of it. All right. And that's why I say it's always a good idea to start with your with your spring training now. You ride indoors December, January, and February. Come March, you can do some more specialized stuff, but you're gonna come out in the spring riding, and like we say, blowing folks' doors off, or at least enjoying the riding that you're doing in a way that you didn't experience it before. So what I would also offer up, which may be to me personally a better suggestion, is I will give you my email address. If you will email me, I will send you the program that I've been sharing with folks that would help them with their base. You can do it in Zwift. It's not in Zwift. So I guess that's the best way. You can use Zwift to do it, but it's not built in Zwift. So it wouldn't be one of the Zwift workouts in here. It would be a workout that you would do on your own, and you could put it in here through what they call the custom creator workout. I think that's a lot in the beginning if you're just getting acclimated with it. I've built workouts that I've put into actual Zwift. It takes a little bit more time and effort. What I would have is on paper, and I'm going to drop my email address in here. And again, if anyone is interested in it, I will be more than glad to send it out to you as well. And I just have two other things to show you all. I know this has been a little bit long, but again, this is information that will help you to really get the best out of Zwift when you're in it. There's my email address. The badges. So again, we mentioned this gamification within here. There are performance badges that you're able to do. This is just their way of sucking you in and wanting to be able to ride more and do more within Zwift as well. Here are some of the badges that you can achieve, different achievements. All of the routes are listed on here. As you can see, as we go through this, I have just a few more routes before I'm completely done with all the routes in here. I can tell you all the ones that are blank are all the ones that are over 60 miles long. So I've kept the best ones for last. I'll be riding those here. That's part of my winter challenge to knock those longer routes out. I've been riding a century on Zwift every Saturday for the last 3 weeks. So I'm going to start knocking some of these longer routes out as well. So those are the badges. This is the drop shop. This is probably one of the things that got me hooked the most, was that I'm actually able to purchase and get bicycles with what are called drops. As you're riding in the game, you accumulate points. You accumulate points when you win sprints. You accumulate points when you achieve badges. You accumulate points when you complete different routes. And those points, as they accumulate, allow you the ability to be able to go in and purchase swag. Those items that you're able to purchase are different bicycles. And there are, similar. These are actual real life bicycles that are in the game. They're not made up. They're made after the actual brand. So these are Pinarello bicycles with the same specifications, and they perform in the game the same way. The same holds true with wheels. You can buy wheels and upgrade your wheel set. And they are duplicative of the current wheel sets that are out in the marketplace as well. Believe it or not, they do allow you to perform better in the game, similar to as they would in real life. And they've given you advantages. You'll set up your avatar yourself. You'll go in, you choose your head type, facial hairs, and all of that. That's how you'll set up your avatar. You also get different helmets. Some helmets you don't buy, you just get awarded when you achieve certain levels or you complete certain routes. Glasses, same thing. You also have the ability to pick up jerseys. Now, jerseys, there are 2 jerseys that I have that I got specifically because I'm on a race team. BMTR is who I race for. And in real life, I race outdoor for Team Stages. So I was able to acquire their in-the-game kit as well. There are different kits that you'll receive when you receive certain levels. I think one of these is when you ride a century inside of Zwift, they'll give you it. When you get to level 20, they'll give you a kit level 25. You have one also, different colors, different adventures that you go through. This is for what you get when you ride a century within Zwift. This one is what you get when you do a metric century in Zwift. So they give you, again, the ability to pick up different kits. Same with gloves, socks, and shoes. So you can totally outfit yourself within the game, customize it, and you can then go shopping. These are the different frames that are available. Again, these are all real life frames and real life frame builders. They're identical to what they have out in the marketplace right now. If I was to buy this Canyon Ultimate CFR, that would cost me 639 drops. So up to the top right, you can see I have 3,474,343 drops. So I have enough to buy it if I wanted it, but I don't. So that's frames and then wheels. Same thing, wheel companies. I think there was a wheel set in here I wanted to get that I hadn't gotten yet. It's $1 million. Let's buy it. Let's go ahead on and get it. And I confirm. And then I'll equip myself with it. And now I have just purchased that wheel set, the Zippity Doo wheel set. And I can see I'm now 1.5 million lighter than I was earlier. But now I'm fully equipped. I have that as well. So that is the drop shop. Again, the last is just, again, my own personal. So you'll be able to do your profile and any settings within it. And then the exit is that door right there. And you will leave. And then you will say, I'm done. And that, folks, is